Hi everyone, welcome. How's everybody doing today? So grateful to have you all. How's everybody doing? Let me check the chat. Hi Brianne, so nice to see you as always. Thank you so much for joining. Hi Nola Taro. How are you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing actually very, very well. I got a lot done today. Yeah, got a lot done today. It's the middle of the week. Happy hump day, everybody. And yeah, just got enough sleep today, so I have more energy than last week. Yeah, how are you doing? I'd love to hear that. How's everybody doing? Thank you for joining. Please make sure that you like the video. Just how the algorithm works is that the more people like it, it's kind of like high school. It's like high school. The more you like it, the more it gets seen. Hi, Janine Rousseau. How are you? Hello, I'm excited to make a live. Oh, so thankful that you made it. What origin is your last name? I'm curious. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm doing well. So glad to hear that. Really glad. Because Rousseau can be South African, but sometimes it's spelled different, so I'm just curious. You're Italian. How cool is that? Thank you for joining. I'm so grateful. I've been thinking about, I want to go to Italy at some point. I'm going to Europe either the end of this year or my birthday next year. I was going to go to either, it's a long story, but I'm going to make it to Italy soon. Okay, I'll make it to Italy soon. I love Italian culture. Okay, so let's get into the reading. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. I'm so grateful. So we're going to be talking about this Hailey. I'm from New York and I've been following your channel for a while. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I'm from New York too. I don't know if you know that. You can't tell by my accent, but I'm telling you in my heart. I'm very New York. I have an intricate story. I was born in New York and then I moved to South Africa, then England, then South Africa. And then I moved back to New York when I was a teenager. But let me tell you something. There's no place like New York in the world. And when I left New York 8 years ago, I can't believe 8 years ago, I actually saw a colleague of mine randomly from New York yesterday in Miami, which is so crazy. And we have the same birthday too. And I always remember that we had the same birthday, which is so crazy to me. But yeah, and what I love and I miss about New York is people being genuine. There's no other place in the world where people are genuine, just truly themselves. There's no other place in the world like that. And towards the end, I was bitter about leaving New York. I was like, I don't like this place, but I really wish there's something I regret. I don't regret a lot of things in my life, but I regret when I left New York being so angry at it. And I promised myself I would never do that again. I agree. I moved to Virginia by exactly. Once you're from New York, and all of my really good friends, except for two friends of mine who live in England, the rest of them are all from New York. And we've been friends for 8 years, 10 years, 12 years. Like we travel, we meet up again, we travel, meet up again. One of my very good friends, I went to her wedding. We've been friends for 13 years. Crazy. And we talk, I'd say once a month. We've never had a fight. And I just appreciate that about upfront people. Like New Yorkers tend to be. Because once you've lived in New York, I'd say for more than 2 years, it kind of trains you to be a different kind of person. We can see through fake. New Yorkers can see through fake people completely. Oh, I love that you guys are chatting with each other. Oh, do you have allergies, Brianne? Oh, I'm sorry. I have allergies too, but thank goodness I live in Miami now because I don't really get them that badly. Before I used to get horrible allergies. I feel for you. I'm sending you my love. Okay, so let's get into this. This copying. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I predicted a long time ago that Hailey was copying Selena. And I said, in fact, I rewatched it because I love watching Billy Bush's I don't know why. I just love watching certain people, and I've been really into Billy Bush, Candace Owens, and there's somebody else I've been watching a lot. Oh, from Love Is Blind, which you guys probably don't watch. But I love authentic people, even if I can disagree completely with the person. I like when somebody has a stance and they have evidence for it, and that's how they feel. So I've been watching a lot of Billy Bush, who used to be on Hollywood Access. He got cancelled, all that kind of stuff. I don't agree with him being cancelled, but it is what it is. And he does these hot takes every day. And he was talking about, he was like, I watched this documentary that Hailey has been copying Selena for years. And I thought to myself, I predicted that. 2 years ago, I did a video. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years? 2 years ago. I said that Selena, or rather Hailey, is copying Selena. And I said that go back and watch it because it was very, very accurate. I don't know if you guys watched it. So I'm going to read out Hailey's birth chart. And it's almost like I did do another video where I said that every time Selena is happy, Hailey's going to try to pull her energy in again. I don't know if you guys remember watching that or seeing that. And it looks like that's what's happening. And I'm not saying Selena Gomez is an angel. I'm not at all. I just feel as though Hailey Bieber has a very dark side to her. Very dark side that she hides behind. Now, if you're Sun and Sagittarius, I'm not saying this necessarily about you, but I've had some experiences with Sun and Sagittarius where especially the woman can be very mean girl and do things behind the scenes. I mentioned this story a long time ago. But I had this very good Sagittarius friend. I would say she was my best friend at the time. And I was doing something that I shouldn't have been doing. And I take full accountability for that. Long story short, no, I'm not even going to get that much into it because I've already told the story many, many times. But she went and told one of my big secrets to the person that she shouldn't have. And she, to me, would say, oh, yeah, I understand. And then to the other person, she went and she told my secret. So I found that about Sun and Sagittarius, they can be very two-faced people, backstabber types, and mean girls. I have not had a good experience with Sagittarius women. If you are a Sagittarius woman, I won't say anything about you because I don't know you. I'm just saying in my personal life, I have not had the best experience with Sagittarius women. In fact, I've had the worst experience with them. And Libras, Sagittarius and Libras. So, Brian says Hailey seems to me to have pick me vibes, 100%. 100%, I could see that. Especially with everything that's come out. I didn't really focus on it. I saw through the tarot and I thought, this is very odd. Like through the tarot. And then after I did that video, somebody sent me a video, just some parallels. It was like a few shots on Instagram showing me the parallels of the tattoo behind the ear, stuff like that, so forth. So it was just very shady. Let's say that. I just want to say, guys, I'm so happy that you guys are here. And thank you so much for joining. I feel very grateful today. I don't know why, but I'm especially grateful for you all because you really make my day, honestly. I'm sorry I had to go through that with that sad woman. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a recurring thing in my life. It's really obvious it's copying and not a coincidence. Yes. Yes. And I remember when they got married. I was living in LA. When Hailey and Justin got married, I was living in LA and I have been a huge Justin Bieber fan. Not huge, actually, of his personal life. I always say this. I don't really follow a lot of celebrity personal lives. I love music and I just always love and gravitate towards music. Justin Bieber's Company, or Purpose rather, with that album, is one of my top 5 albums of all time. I absolutely love that album. And I remember when they got married, because I listened to Justin Bieber a lot, especially that album. And when they got married, I just saw his energy just like He's been very wilted since they've been together. And I remember also doing a reading on that situation. And I strongly feel as though Hailey does some kind of dark magic. And when I used to speak about, I think, Brianne, you were here for one of the lives that I was speaking about her. And these bots would come on. And they would come on. I think you were here. I definitely remember you being at one of those lives where the bots would come on and defend Hailey out of nowhere. And it was to deter me from speaking about her, but it's just very strange to me. It's very creepy. Yeah, like you said, it's just creepy. It's so creepy. I want to tell you guys later a story about a personal story about somebody who copied me, but I'll tell you later because I don't want to make this all about me. But it's very creepy. You're 100% right. I always get the vibe that when you do underhanded things to get what you want, the karma of it comes back at someone. 100%. What's your sun sign, Janine? I see you being an air sign. I could be wrong. Like a Gemini, you Gemini. We have strong Gemini in your chart. I get that energy. Okay, so let's go to Hailey Bieber's birth chart. I think I recently covered it when I'm a Libra. Yeah, I saw that you were an air sign. 100%, I could see that. I think you also have strong Gemini in your chart. Thank you for still being a subscriber, even though sometimes I roast Libras. I'm not talking about you. I want everybody to know that. It's just been my experience with certain people. Okay, so sun sign is in Sagittarius. Her moon is in Taurus, which is very interesting. Venus is in Libra. Can't find rising. Now let's look at his. Her Venus, October Libra, he said, which is a bit older than the September Libra. Interesting. Very interesting to me. I've mostly had bad instances with male Libras in relationships. Yeah, and I had two bosses that were Libras. But you know what's funny? At my current job, the people that I love the most are Pisces and Libras. I just forgot that. One of my favorite co-workers. They're twins. It's a twin set, and they're Libras. They're October Libras, and they're wonderful, absolutely amazing people. So I do get along with Libras. I just feel like Libras have to be they have to learn to be who they are, and very decisive, because sometimes Libras can be indecisive, and I like decisive people. But you're from New York, so you're most definitely decisive. You don't have that problem, I'm sure. Okay, so let's go with Justin Bieber's chart. Okay, so his sun is in Pisces, I knew that. Moon is in Libra, and rising is in Scorpio. Venus is in Pisces. Interesting. Which I always say this about Pisces, especially the men. And he's a double Pisces because he's a Venus and Pisces too. The men like to fall in love with victims or people that are misunderstood. They feel like they're misunderstood. And I used to date this Pisces guy, and I used to tell him all the time, I think if I were a mess, you would like me, because he would talk about his exes. He would complain about his exes a lot, and me and his exes were very different. And it just got me thinking, I'm way too together to be with him, because a lot of his exes, I don't want to say what they got into because it's not my business, it's not my place to tell. But a lot of Pisces, male Pisces, they like women that struggle in life so they can save them. So they look like the good person, which makes a lot of sense with this Hailey situation. I agree with that. You agree with the Libra being decisive? Yes. Yeah. Why do me and Hailey have Taurus moons? I mean, your moon is how you process emotions. It's not really that big of a deal. I think what's most important is your rising, your sun, and your Venus for other people. Your moon is for you because it's how you deal with your emotions, Yeah, that's just my opinion. So it's not really anything. You don't have to take it too personally. I know what it's like when there's somebody that you don't want to have the same planetary alignment to you. But that's why you have the other planets in different, I mean, you have different, there's so many other differences that you have. Just because you have the same moon sign as somebody doesn't mean that you're going to behave like them. Okay, so I'm going to start with the tarot. And I'm using the Star Child Tarot for this. And I just want to see why she keeps copying her. It's very creepy, and everybody's catching on to it, which is just even more. And I never really broke down in the first video that I did of why she's copying her. But let's see. Let us find out. This shall be interesting. Oh my gosh, I even see a fragrance. I see Selena doing a fragrance, and I see Hailey doing a fragrance. It's going to get really bad. It's going to get worse. I just don't get it. It's very bizarre to me. Yeah, I see a fragrance. She's going to copy. I want to tell you guys a story that I have. But I'll tell you after. I want to focus on the tarot right now. So she wants Justin's approval. That's why she's doing it. That's the main reason. And with Queen of Wands energy, which often is Sagittarius energy, she thinks that the only way to being liked, it's very sad actually. She's uncomfortable with being liked herself by the Wands. So she's trying to imitate her to be liked. I suppose it seems obvious, but it's also very creepy why you wouldn't just want to be yourself. But I see a fragrance coming out. She didn't have a fragrance. It was like a black bottle. And then shoes. I also see shoes. It's very sad. Seven of Wands, the universe. So she, in her mind, she thinks that they are meant to be together with Akashic records. And she feels like her and Justin are soulmates. So she kind of wants to become what Justin likes. She's very well aware that Justin is still in love with Selena Gomez. And if my first video that got thousands of views was about Selena and Justin. And I said that they would end up having some sort of rekindling again at some point. Whether it was to have a conversation but it wasn't over. And Hailey knows that. But she's trying to halt it for as long as possible. Seven of Wands, the universe, to kind of convince him. This kind of reminds me, okay, I used to have this roommate. I was actually thinking about her the other day. I used to have this roommate, I'm not going to say her name, but I've liked a lot of my roommates. Her, I was not crazy about. She wasn't very nice. And she had this boyfriend that would stay over a lot. And it got to the point where he would be around almost every day. And at that point, I was just like, whatever. She planned on moving out, actually. She was going to move out. And after that, I feel like she just did whatever she wanted. So she was going to move actually out with her boyfriend. And while her and her boyfriend were still living at that place, at our apartment, her boyfriend would flirt with me and stuff like that. And I remember one time I was coming out of my room, I was going to make breakfast, and they were watching TV in the living room. And he looked at me, and she took his face literally and pointed it towards herself. And I thought, oh my gosh. So energetically, Hailey is doing that. Where Justin will probably like something or secretly look at something on social media that has to do with Selena, and she's copying him to point him in her direction. It's very sad. Very, very, very sad. And it almost seems as though she doesn't have, like you said, Brianne, she doesn't have personality, but she hasn't been raised. She hasn't been raised to be her own person. Which is very, very sad. She's from New York too, though, so I'm surprised. But she's from upstate New York, so maybe that's different. But wow. Wow, wow, wow. Very, very unfortunate. It's almost like she's being raised to do this. In fact, the Boltons in general are just oh my god, that family. So that's what she's doing. She's doing it. I think she catches him looking at things, kind of being obsessed. I think Justin is secretly still obsessed with Selena. And that's why he's looked his worst recently. Because Selena's happy and she's in love. And he's spiraling. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. Jenny says the Bulls are not known for being the greatest people. No, they are not. Jenny, did you watch the video I did where I talk about Hilaria Bolden, Alec Bolden's wife? Because she used to be my yoga teacher. And she was so sweet. But in New York, actually, she was my yoga teacher. And it was just so shocking that she's become this person. And now she's even on red carpet telling him to shut up and all that kind of stuff. And I took her yoga class for a year. And me and my ex-boyfriend and my friend, good friend, we used to take her class. And she was always so sweet. So I'm so shocked at this person I see. I think the fame has gotten to her head, which is very, very sad. That part. Yeah, she's something else. Seriously. And the faking of the accent and all that. And I remember thinking, because I would hear her after class, she would talk to students. And I remember her saying she's from Spain. And I thought, this is very strange. Because she said, I'm Spanish. But sometimes, especially in America, in Europe, people don't really refer to Latinos as Spanish. But in America, people do. They refer to Latinos as Spanish. It's a colloquial thing. So when she said I'm Spanish, I thought maybe she was just being colloquial and how Americans refer to Latinos as Spanish, because I thought she could be Colombian, because some Colombians I've met have British last names. So I always knew she wasn't from Spain, because when I was in England, I met a lot of Spaniards who have a very different accent, even the way they speak Spanish, because I speak Spanish. When she spoke Spanish, sounded very, very different. And they have a huskier voice. They have a different accent. They speak feo. They speak, even the way they say, like they have an S, they with the S. So I thought this is fair. She's definitely, I thought to myself, she's not from Spain. 100% she's not from Spain. But where is she from? And so I just thought when she said she's from Mallorca, I was like, she cannot be from Mallorca. Very interesting. I think that way too about Justin as well. Yeah. I'm telling you, since he's gone down the rail, I really strongly believe it's because of Selena being happy. I always have thought like Selena's gone, and now this has just revealed it. I think, in fact, I see through the cards that she sees him looking at things, liking, I think, on an anonymous phone or something like that, on a burner account, and liking certain things. It's so sad. Sad. It's really sad because if you can't be your true self, you will never feel complete. 100%. 100%. But the thing about LA and Hollywood is that you meet so many fakers. So I'm going to tell you guys a story, right? So a long time ago, I mentioned the story a long time ago when I did the video about her copying Selena. I'm going to tell the story again. So when I used to teach yoga, I taught yoga for 8 years, on and off 8 years. Mostly I was on, but in the interim of finding different studios. So I taught yoga for a long time, and I remember the last place that I taught at, it was like a year before COVID, because I stopped teaching during COVID because of everything that happened. And a year before I stopped teaching, like a year and a half, it was around, the end of 2018 is when I met her. She was this yoga student. She would come in. She first started. She was a student as somebody else's, and then she became a student of mine. Basically, she took my own class. That's what I mean. And I remember one time I was checking people in for class, and she said to me, "I want to be just like you," because I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad you made it to my class," to be friendly, because I didn't have anything against her at that time. I was like, "I'm so glad you made it to my class," because she was asking about it and all that kind of stuff. And she was like, "Yeah, I want to be just like you." And I thought, that's really, my red flag was like, oh, that's creepy. So I let it go. Later on that same day, she tagged me in an Instagram story, and she's repeating what I had said in the class and acting like it's hers. And she's kind of like preaching exactly what I said in class. And I thought, that's odd too. So a few things happened in between that. And then one time, this was after COVID, this is when I stopped teaching because this was my final straw actually. She had become a yoga teacher at that point because, I thought before this all happened, before I started to think, okay, she's really got issues, I was trying to get her to teach yoga. Oh no, I went on her podcast. And I remember she was showing me, I went on her podcast, and then she showed me a clip of what was coming out. And I had worn a t-shirt that said something about woman. I forgot what it said because I haven't owned that t-shirt in a long time. But it was something about woman. Like, I can't remember what it said. Oh no, it said, "Don't like me for being something about like you for being fake. Like me for who I really. Don't hate me. I'd rather you hate me for who I am than like me for being fake." Something along those lines. And then 2 weeks later, I see her in a similar black and white t-shirt, but something about the future's female or something like that. And I thought, this is very strange. So then I always used to have blonde hair, and sometimes I would color it, all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I was blonde. At this point, I was platinum blonde. And then I see her a month later, and she's platinum blonde because I was here at the yoga studio. And I think this is very strange. So one time she was showing me the podcast was about to go live. And she showed me her podcast picture, and I was like, "That's so cool! Oh my gosh!" And she was like, "Yeah, don't we look alike?" And I was like, "No, we don't look anything alike. We look nothing alike." Then another time, I was checking people in, and I saw her in passing. I think she was doing like some kind of study because when you become a yoga teacher, you have to study. And she said, she said to me that somebody came up to her and thought she was me. And it's like, there's no way, because she's a lot taller than I am. She was about 30 pounds heavier than me. And it's okay if you're heavier, it doesn't matter. And she's a lot darker than I am. So I just thought there's no way anybody would confuse us unless they're blind, which is fine, whatever. I don't really care. But all those instances led me to believe something else going on. So one day, for some reason, we had a mutual friend, right? And I ended up on her page. And I used to have an oil line, which I'm about to relaunch very soon. And I saw that her oil, she had just started an oil line that was almost identical to mine. And I thought, this is insane. I went down her Instagram, and I used to do these videos on Instagram of tarot, of Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, like all the different zodiac signs I would do tarot for during COVID. And she copied my look. She copied, like, I used to wear pink lipstick like I do now with a specific t-shirt. I would see a month later when I looked at it, she had a similar t-shirt, stuff like that, like very similar to this Selena and Hailey thing. So I know what it feels like to I know what it feels like to have that happen to you, and it's awful. It's awful, awful, awful. I don't know where she is right now, and I really couldn't be bothered to see her. But I got the sense from this person that she was just very empty, and she when I first went on her podcast, she she just gave me the vibe. She was talking about her family life. She gave me the vibe that nobody ever really accepted her, you know? And I get that same energy from Hailey, is that to be accepted, they have to be somebody else. And that's very, very sad. So that's my little story about a stalker, female stalker that I had who copied crazy. I even have like evidence of it because I considered taking legal action if she continued, but I was like, you know what? It's just a waste of energy, honestly. Because I was just so taken aback that somebody would copy everything. I've had people copy me, you know. I had an ex who is a well-known producer, uh, kind of steal some of my ideas and stuff like that. But to this extent, I've never had that happen. And I thought, wow, this is insane. And I forgot what happened. I reached out because I was doing like discovery and all of that. I don't remember the full story, but I remember reaching out to somebody she had on her podcast because I figured if she had me on her podcast and she said I was inspirational, what was she doing with other people? And so I reached out to somebody else she had on her podcast, and she had horrible things to say about that same person. So I was like, oh, okay, so it's not. I mean, I knew it wasn't a me thing, but it's just couldn't believe that somebody. And she said that she copied something she did, and then I saw it too. She was like a wedding planner or something. I don't fully remember the story, but she was like an event planner. And it's funny because when I met her, she said she wanted to do plan events. She was going to leave her company and plan events. So what gave me closure was when I spoke to the other woman, and she said that she'd been copying her and all this stuff. And I just figured she'll move on to somebody else. Somebody else will be next soon, you know. Um, yeah, somebody else will be next soon, and she just needs. I think it's actually a personality disorder, to be honest, where they create different personas to feel at peace. So it's very, very sad. But anyways, yeah. So that's what I have for you guys. Does anybody else have anything to say? Have you somebody copy and all that stuff? It's very creepy when it happens. It's very, very creepy. And at that time, I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you guys, but I had a stalker. I had two male stalkers, not at the same time, but consecutively. So one of them I had to go to court for. So my mind was really in that. So I wasn't really focused. It's like I have to go to court for the stalker. I have to get a restraining order, all that kind of stuff. So I wasn't really focused on her. But once I saw her Instagram for the last time, I saw she had been copying every single thing I did. And it was so scary to be in that mind space that you need to copy somebody. Is just so creepy. But yeah, that's what I see about Hailey is that she catches, and that's maybe why Justin hasn't said anything, because Justin himself is in denial about being in love with her. Yeah, I've had more than two stalkers. I've had the fact that I don't have one now is crazy. I recently had another one that I've not been the luckiest with stalkers. I've been stalked a lot, unfortunately. But horrible actually. But yeah, I had two stalkers in LA. It was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I don't really want to get into the two stalkers because I had to get a restraining order from one of them, and I'd rather just leave that in the past. It was very scary. It was very, very scary. So at that time, I was like, I'd rather just deal with this male stalker, and then because I was thinking this is a red flag. Like the things she's doing, it's very strange to me. Very, very strange. But I was like, no, it's fine, whatever. And then I let it be. And then the last time I was like, this is crazy. But once the other woman told me, she was like an event wedding planner. She used to have white. I forgot her name. She was so sweet too. She was like, yeah, she was lovely. We kept in touch for a little bit until I left LA. But I reached out to her and I said, this is going to sound crazy, but I really believe this girl, and I said her name is like copying everything I do. She's like, yep. She literally wrote this whole long paragraph back. She did the same to me. I threatened legal action. And yeah, it was quite a lot. That's why LA is just, I don't know, I did not get good vibes from LA. People that are just very lost. Like, that's what made me start the story. Like I mentioned, is that people in LA can be just very lost. I've had people copy me. It's always the ex of someone I'm dating or the new girlfriend. I think it's insecurity because I'm so poor. That's what it is. When you are authentic, people will gravitate towards you, even creepy people, and being bold. I'm sorry I went through that though. That's really the copying, yo. It just gets under my skin because I'm like, just come up with your own thing. You know what I love? I do get inspiration from certain people. Like my nails right now, I saw one of my colleagues who's also a fellow Chris, and I'm gonna tell her when I see her, I'm gonna tell her, listen, I love your nails so much. I didn't copy the exact ones because I got a diamond, but I was like, when I saw your nails, it inspired me to get white nails. There's a difference between inspiration and copying every single thing. It's so creepy, like wow. So that's what I see. I see that Justin still has love, a lot of love for Selena, and is still in love with her. And I did see on the video that I did about them, Selena and Justin, until they have a proper communication, closure, conversation, then he's never going to be over her. Yeah. I'm staying in the house for the rest of 2025 at this point. Oh my god, he's so funny. I cannot. I mean, you have to live your life. Honestly, because I've had a few stalkers, let me tell you, I don't want to sound like a victim, but I'm just saying that just be aware, be alert, and live your life. People can't stop you from living your life. Otherwise, they'll stop you from living at your full potential. I recently had a stalk situation which ended 2 months ago. 2 months, yes, 2 months ago. And this person, I don't want to get too much into it because it's still very fresh. But one day I'll tell you guys the story. So it's been something, and it put me through hell. And I thank God I have good therapy, and I thank God I have people around me believe me. And I took evidence. I think also since COVID, people really changed, and I think people start to become more dependent on substances, and this person in particular had a substance issue. In fact, my other stalker did too. He had a substance abuse issue, and when you depend on substances to live, you're on a clear mind, So reality seems like a fantasy, You're right, Lord. Yeah, you can't. Trust me, I wanted to at some point just be, yeah, but you can't live like that. You can't live like that. So let me quickly read Selena's chart. Actually, I'll say that for another day when I'm doing exes. So I think next week I'm going to do Selena and Justin, one part of the famous exes, because I strongly believe when he leaves Hailey, we're going to find out that she had something to do, that he's going to admit that he's still in love with Selena. I strongly believe that. Yeah. Cece, hi Cece, how are you? Thank you for joining. Hey, just joined the live. I remember in your last Selena Hailey reading that you said the feud was going to continue 100%. 100% is going to continue until the relationship is over. I have said Justin is going to be distant towards Hailey, and then she's going to get to the point where she's going to file for divorce. Sometimes a lot of male sun and Pisces, they won't break up with you because they feel bad for you. So they'll act like, just happened to me, they'll act like the victim and force you to break up with them. They'll disappear on you, stuff like that. They won't be very nice to you. So they start acting weird when they want to break up with you, and they want you to do it so that they can still have a victim story, which is what Justin is going to do with her. So yeah, that's what I have for you. I don't remember. Thank you so much for going back and watching the last video, Cece. I really appreciate that. And I did see your last comment. I will make the I forgot what it was, the video. You recently just commented and I replied. But I will make sure that I double look at it. You know what's funny? Brianne, as soon as I said he's gonna be distant, I thought, oh, he's already distant, but he's gonna be more distant. Yep. You and I think alike. He is already distant. It's so sad, and that's why people will push. In my 20s, I was engaged twice, right? And I just knew in my heart I wasn't ready to get married. And some people, not everybody, and not my family, thank goodness, is that nobody in my family told me to get married young. A lot of people from the outside world were telling me, get married, get married, get married, and I just knew in my 20s I wasn't ready to get married. Most people, it depends. If you're from a small town, that's different. But if you live in a big city, most people are not ready to get married in the 20s. And especially now with modern technology, you can freeze your eggs. Next year, I'm going to freeze my eggs, just to make sure that I can do the best that I can to be a good wife and a good mother. And when I'm ready enough, so yeah. I just think getting married at 20s, and they got married young. It's doomed because she's still latching onto insecurities, and so far I can't even tell you guys stories I have when I was in my 20s that and it's not because I did anything wrong. I was just learning. I mean, I did do things that were wrong, but in relationships, a lot of the time, I was just learning. And the way to learn sometimes is trial and error. Janine says, thank you for this live. Have to head to a work meeting. Have a good night. Oh my gosh, so late. Your work meeting's so late. Well, anyways, have a good night too. You have that New Yorker spirit. You're still working all the time. It's been so lovely having you, Janine. Have a good night. Thank you for joining. Let's see. Brian, how does Taylor feel about Selena being engaged? You know what? I want to do a reading about that. Can you remind me, please, Brian? Because I know you have a great memory and you're very good at communicating. So can you please remind me to do that? I want to do, I just recorded a Where is Taylor Swift video because she's been MIA and some people have been asking me. So I just did that and yeah, I think I'm going to do a Taylor Swift Friends. That was requested a lot before. I think I'm going to do another one. Brianna says I'm 35 and I know I'm not ready to get married, and that is fine. That is fine. I had a colleague tell me the other day, she was like, what are you waiting for? Because I was like, oh, I just turned 36. She was like, what are you waiting for? And I said to her, there's no rush. I have friends that met that person in their 40s, in their 50s. When we rush things, we rush into the wrong situation. And I've been there before. I have a story that I'll tell you guys one day. But I've been in the situation where I've rushed. And then I've ended up in bad relationships, unhealthy relationships. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to bring a child into that. I want to be happy and live fully, enjoy fully. And if that means being single for now, that is 100% fine. There's no rush for anything in life, especially things that are meant for you do not deserve to be rushed. I can't drum that. I think women, we need to hear that a lot. Because I don't think men, because of our biological clock, they say by 35 you should have kids, otherwise you're geriatric pregnant, which is now with modern technology. Obviously, be smart about it. Make sure that you are consulting doctors and so forth. Don't just expect to get pregnant on a woman at 40. But we have so many options now. You don't have to get married in your 20s, get pregnant in your 20s, and be in a bad situation dependent on someone who's gonna disappear whenever they want to. And a lot of women have stories like this. I was almost in a story like that, so I don't wish that upon anybody. I definitely don't wish that upon myself. I heard that Travis' brother, and Travis were at her brother's wedding the past weekend. Interesting. Very interesting. But stay tuned for that video. Okay, everybody, I love you all so much. I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for the live. I'm so grateful for the community. I am going to head out, and I'm going to start editing videos. These will be up. I just changed my internet, right? I need to talk to T-Mobile. I'll talk to them tomorrow because it's kind of slow, my internet. Xfinity charged me crazy. Like, they doubled the price that I used to pay. So I switched over to T-Mobile because I was like, I'm not gonna pay that. So it's been a little wonky. That's why my internet hasn't been great. But please bear with me. I am speaking to T-Mobile, and hopefully we'll get it fixed. And I have so many great new things on the way, so stay tuned. And yeah, I'm just very grateful for you all. We've had this community for almost 4 years, which is insane. So I'm so grateful for everybody. A lot of people, they want volume. I want quality. And most of you that watch my videos are such lovely people. So supportive, understanding. I couldn't ask for a better community. So I'm very, very grateful to every single one of you. I have a Future Love reading coming up very soon, a part of the Future Love series. I have been heavily requested to... We'll see. We'll see about... so just let me know. I will have a post up very soon about Future Love if you want me to do it. And just pay attention to community tabs if you really want a video done and you're a subscriber or a member. Through the community tab, I will be able to see on that page when I post it exactly who you want me to do a video on. So stay tuned for that. I will be posting one soon. So I love you all, every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching. Even if you're silent, okay, bye, Brianne. Even if you're silent, I still appreciate the view. I love you all, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay tuned. On Friday, I'll be releasing the other videos for members. And then on the weekend, I'll start. Well, tomorrow, excuse me, because hopefully it'll be up, depending how T-Mobile is, for members. And then Friday, I'll start releasing videos. So thank you, everybody. Lots of kisses, lots of love.